So I wanted to talk a little bit more about true crime, because let's face it, I think I like this game a little bit too much. Now, some of you might be wondering, why do I like this game so much? Sure, the speedrun is pretty cool, even if I am the only person who runs it, but there's so much more to this game than just being a Grand Theft Auto clone. To find out the full story about why I like this game so much, we have to go back in time. So as a little kid, I absolutely loved my Xbox. Back in 2006, little second grader Cullen would hop on the Xbox every day right after school. Only for 1 hour a day though, because video games would turn me psychotic if I played them too much. I also owned a few games as a kid that my parents thought were too violent for me. For example, games like Halo 2 would corrupt my little mind, but True Crime was perfectly fine. And don't even get me started on Grand Theft Auto. With the hot coffee controversy fresh on the minds of American parents all over, there was no way in hell they would ever let me own that game. So instead, I had to settle for the next best thing, True Crime. It's actually kind of funny how I was allowed to play True Crime when the game was just as violent, if not more violent, than Grand Theft Auto. But I mean, hey, my parents weren't really gamers. Sure, they played GoldenEye and Super Mario 64 before I was born, but other than that, they didn't really play video games. Instead, they did normal adult stuff like watching Dog the Bounty Hunter, or Cheaters, or read books or something. Hell, I was only born in the last year of the 90s, so I don't even know what people did for fun back then other than watch movies or get kicked out of Walmart. Anyway, True Crime Streets of LA was pretty cool. Sure, as a kid I never really got too far in the story, as in order to progress into the best ending, you would have to not kill a bunch of civilians, which is exactly what I did as a little 6-year-old psychopath. But man, who cared? The city was huge. Even now, True Crime has the third largest open world in video game history, third only to Just Cause 3 and Final Fantasy 15. Like, just to put into perspective, this world is 3 times bigger than Azeroth, and all of the streets are accurate to real-life LA too. You want to visit the Playboy Mansion? You sure as hell can. What about the Santa Monica Pier? The Ice Poseidon Streamer Mansion. You can visit all of these places. And did I mention you can play as Snoop Dogg? That's right. If you collect all 30 of the golden dog bone collectibles throughout the game, you unlock a special game mode known as Dog Patrol, where you can run around LA solving crimes as Snoop Dogg. And it's just as good as it sounds.
Move, bitch! Get out the way! Oh yeah, baby!
Oh my God!
But enough about all that. Let's talk about the real reason everyone played True Crime, the story. So as the story goes, you play as Nick Kang, an LAPD detective who got suspended for beating a pimp or something. Whatever. Anyways, 5 minutes in, you get your job back and get promoted to the rank of EOD Detective, Elite Operations Division. So throughout the game, you shoot a bunch of Russians and triads or whatever, then you find out that this one Russian guy knows the truth about what happened to your father who disappeared when you were a kid. Bunch of stuff happens, you sneak through a warehouse, kill a dragon, more on that later, fight a bunch of strippers, and then you fight North Korean dictator Kim Jong-il on an airport runway. Yeah, this story is a little whack. Let me give you a random chapter as an example. So, pretty late in the game, you're tasked to find a crime boss by the name of Ancient Wu, who supposedly knows where the Russian guy who killed your dad is. Spoilers, by the way. So, you drive to a Chinese restaurant, sneak your way into the kitchen, fight a bunch of cooks, and then the game gets a little weird. So, after this, you find out that a door in the kitchen is connected to a giant system of catacombs. And inside those catacombs are zombies with freaking machine guns. But wait, it gets even better. So you fight your way through the catacombs and end up in a little fiery arena where you meet Ancient Wu, and he's pretty old.
Come on, Nicholas. I'm only 342 years old.
But don't worry, it gets even worse.
What the? Man, I'm getting too old for this.
That's right. The game has you fight a bunch of fire demons in the basement of this Chinese restaurant. I don't know what the hell the creative team was smoking when they thought of this, but it must have been some crazy shit. Then, you fight 2 fire ladies. You might think that this is too crazy to be true, but don't worry, I've saved the best test for last. That's right, the final boss of this chapter is a fire-breathing dragon. You know, the game tries to be a semi-serious cop drama game, then it throws this bullshit out at you. Personally, I don't really care, and I think it makes the game better, honestly. If you take a look at the sequel, which is a lot darker and tries to have a more serious story, you'll find that the story falls flat in a lot of places. So, in any case, I'm very happy that Streets of LA decided to have a much less serious story, or else we wouldn't end up with moments like these.
Ah! Get your hands off of me, I'm a police officer!
So what? This Chinatown lady? Nobody cares.
That's where you're wrong, pal.
Huh. What, you think you can stop me?
Let her go. She'll just get on your nerves, trust me.
Kang, don't you dare, you shit! Ah!
Damn it! Should have put in more time at the range. Oh, bad scene.
Feels like a nightmare, don't it, gang?
So sure, I might not have been able to enjoy Grand Theft Auto until I was a bit older, but it doesn't really bother me that much now, thinking about it. If I grew up with San Andreas or Vice City, there's no telling whether or not I would have been able to experience true crime Streets of LA. But with nostalgia and the laughs this game has given me into adulthood, I'm glad I was one of those few kids who grew up with true crime instead of Grand Theft Auto.